We're currently waiting on one board member. So what we'd like to do is start with the voices of the children. I apologize. It's from North Main Street School.
Good evening, everyone. Board, Mr. Superintendent, board members, and audience. I'm here representing the North Main Street School, and we're going to present, and our principal is Ms. McGinney-God. She really does excellent job for our students at North Main Street School. This is the North Main Street School Band. This is a small contingent of our band. We have 57 students in the band, and so we just brought 17 students out. I know you don't want to hear 57, it would be pretty loud, but these are our advanced students. We have band in the 4th grade as beginners, and in the 5th grade, they're usually intermediate or advanced students. There are several 4th graders here with us today, so they really did an excellent job learning their music, and they were selected to come out. We're going to play 3 numbers for you, and they're short, and we also have a special guest who I will introduce a little bit later performing with us. So the first piece we're going to play is an American folk tune. The name of the song is Hot Cross Buns. Moving right along, we're going to play a piece by, well, we don't know who it's by, it's anonymous, but it's a French folk tune. It's called Frère Jacques. So we're going to play one more piece, but I do have some really extraordinary students. So I want you to hear our clarinet player, and her name is Valeria Guzman. And Valeria is a 4th grader, but she's advanced. So let's play a piece by Beethoven, Ode to Joy, as a solo. And anytime you squeak, that's par for the course. I play clarinet, and I squeak too, so that's all right. She did a great job. Give her another hand. And now we have a special guest. We have a ringer, because we do have a tuba in the elementary band, but very seldom do we have a person that can hold it and carry it. But we have a special guest, Amada Robinson, who's going to play London Bridge for us on the tuba. And we'll end our concert here with a piece by Mozart, and it's called Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. It's a Mozart melody.
Thank you, Mr. Manning, and the instrumental musical students from North Main. Excellent job. Thank you so much. Next, we need Eden, Christian, and Jaden to come up. The next portion of our presentation is technology, and they're going to show you an introduction of our school. Boys, are you ready? Where's Jason?
Hi, my name is Ian Mercado.
Hi, my name is Christian Ruiz.
Hi, my name is Christian Ruiz.
Hi, my name is Jason.
We are Team Hero. What say you? Wow.
I'm love. I'm smart.
I'm Miss McGill Guy. Welcome to North Main Street School.
This is my principal, Miss McGill Guy. She loves North Main Street School and all the students here.
Hi, everyone. I just want to let you know that all the technology you're seeing this evening has been created solely by the students. So we infuse technology in all the content areas. The video you just saw was created by Eden and Christian, and then Andre, a second grader who couldn't be with us. Jason's going to show you 3 other short clips or videos, how we use it in the content areas of language arts to retell a story. Jason's is a short clip video on a field trip that the district allowed us to go on to Adventure Aquarium. And then the other one will be one of our students read a book in a digital library, and he showed what he learned in a short clip on woodpeckers. So enjoy the next 3 videos.
Is up to 10 feet long. The silk shark is named for the smooth texture of its skin. It is an aggressive hunter, feeding mainly bonefish and squid. Small, silky sharks stay around schools of tuna.
And just want to let you know that I'm his teacher. This is a second grade student created this in about a half-hour class period to continue his learning from what he learned from the aquarium school trip. He was interested in sharks, so he did this as part of one of his assignments. And the next one is going to be an assignment about a woodpecker.
This is a created red-crowned woodpecker. Woodpeckers live in holes in trees so predators won't eat them. Woodpeckers eat fruits. These are where woodpeckers live. Interruption. I'll be back. 3 hours later. Okay, I'm back, guys. That was an interruption. Sorry about that. And we are going to be still learning about woodpeckers. We will see you next time on Epic Wildlife Series.
The next video is going to be a book review that we had another student do after we read a book about Moses for African American Heritage Month. Press play.
My favorite part was when she got out of slavery. She saved 184 slaves. I learned that slavery is not right. Harriet did not like slavery, so she decided to leave. Harriet took an escape and she got to freedom. She is a good person for saving almost all the people in slavery. My favorite part is when she comes out of slavery. This is when it was dark at night and she tried to escape. This is the happiness of daylight.
All right, that's how we use some of the technology at North Main Street School. We are really fortunate that we have technology and we can really extend the students' learning. The next phase are going to be some of the, you guys can drive them out right in the little U there. These are some of the robotics that we use at North Main Street School to help teach the students about coding. Coding is basically in everything that you touch in this technological world. And, what, excuse me? Yeah, that's fine. And what the students are doing, yes, this is free play, but anything that they can do right now with the robotics, they can write a line of code for and play that line of code, and they can make that robot do whatever they want to without any further help from them. So it's really, they're fortunate that they're able to do that, and it's just a great time for them. Okay. Did you guys want to show them the drone too? We also have a drone as well that the students fly around in the hallways and in the computer lab. And again, he is doing free play, but they can actually write a line of code that would make that drone hover, go up to a part of the classroom, set down on a table, and then come back to them too, without any other further assistance. And it's just one long line of code. That code may be 50 lines long, but that's the type of things that they're learning at North Main Street School.
So we're preparing them for the future. Computer science is the way to go, and they're ready. They have a head start in the field of computer science, and they really appreciate the technology that we have at North Main. It looks like free play, but when they're writing the code to be able to get these items to go where they need to be, it's really scientific work that they're doing in the classrooms. So I hope you appreciate our presentation, and we thank you for your time. And feel free to come visit our lab, our STEAM lab at North Main Street School at any time. It's always open.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. We're going to start this evening off with swearing in of a board member, Mr. James Buford.
Mr. Buford, this is required oath of school board members pursuant to NJSA 18A:12-2.1 and NJSA 41:1.1-1 and 1-3. I state your name. Do solemnly swear and affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the government established in the United States and this state, under the authority of the people, so help me God.
Yes, I do.
I state your name.
James Buford.
Do solemnly swear or affirm that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law for the office of member of a Board of Education, and that I am not disqualified as a voter pursuant to RS 19:4-1, nor disqualified due to conviction of a crime or offense listed in NJ S 18A:12-1, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of that office according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Yes, I do.
Mr. Buford, also attached is the Code of Ethics for School Board Members. I need you to print your name and sign that, and return that. Mr. Buford, if you do not mind, you can take your seat.
Congratulations, Mr. Buford.
Thank you.
We now have 5 board members here. We're going to start this evening's meeting. Please stand for the flag salute and a moment of silence for the Abdullah and Davenport family, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. This is to advise those present at this June 12, 2018 regular board meeting, board workshop/action meeting of the Board of Education of the City of Pleasantville in the County of Atlantic. The notice was given on January the 9th, 2018 of the 2017 revised annual designation of the regular monthly board meetings. As required by the provisions of Chapter 231 of the laws of 1975, notice thereof has been distributed for publication in the press, the Absecon/Pleasantville-Kern, and the Mainland Journal, posted in the administration building and forwarded to the city clerk of the city of Pleasantville within the time required by said act. Roll call, Mr. Tompkins.
Mr. Buford? Mr. Barkley? Yes. Ms. Couch?
Yes.
Ms. Mello?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Present. For the record, Mr. Callaway and Ms. Sanchez cannot make it this evening. We're going to start with public portion. First, we have, is it Damisha Taylor?
Hi, I just wanted to address the board because my son has an IEP and he's entitled to transportation, and I was told by Dr. Austin and Mr. Tompkins that there is a door-to-door policy stating that the child can only be picked up and dropped off at their residence. But as I printed the transportation policy, I do not see that anywhere in your policies. And I have been waiting for Dr. Austin to get back to me for months now regarding this. So that's why I'm bringing it before the board.
Ms. Taylor, you had a meeting or it was via phone call?
Both. I've went into and spoke with them. I've spoken to him on the phone, and it's been months now because I asked him, why do you guys not provide transportation if it's in Pleasantville and I'm releasing the district of liability to pick my son up or drop him off at his uncle's house, or which lives in Pleasantville, or at a daycare, and they told me it was a policy, but it's not here. I don't see it at all. And then I also emailed him because I told him other districts do it. He said that this is not this is mostly a walking district. Well, I work in a walking district, and I know that we do it as well. So I emailed him a form that other districts use in reference to the parents signing it, allowing the child to be picked up and dropped off at different places, and that was months ago, and I have not heard anything back from him. And it's frustrating, to be honest.
May I?
Yes.
Yeah, I do remember that conversation, and actually your request asked us to pick him up at one place in the morning and to return him to another place.
No.
And actually we then referred to the lawyers who asked them to check it out because you did indicate there were other school districts that were doing that. We were not able to find any, and so the liability then was very questionable. But again, it was my understanding you were asking that we take him to someone else or another place, which wasn't his home, or wasn't the address where we picked him up. That was the problem.
No, my original request was to pick him up and drop him off at the same place. Either it would be a daycare in Pleasantville or my brother's house, who also lives in Pleasantville. It wasn't two separate places.
But that was the problem, though. That was the problem. It wasn't the address that we had on record to pick him up and deliver him. That was the problem.
Okay, so again, I'm asking, where is that in your policy? Because it's not in here at all.
Well,
You guys are telling me you're telling me it's a door-to-door policy. Where is it? It's not in here.
no,
It's
no.
not written.
What the policy indicates is that we pick the child up from the address that we have at registration, and that's where he's dropped off. I mean, that's just common practice. There's nothing about it indicating that we do anything differently. It's just common practice. We have to accept responsibility for where we pick him up and then return him to that same place.
Okay, and where is that? What policy is that? Because I reviewed all of them and I don't see that in any of them.
Well, it's basically the law, actually.
Well, I'm going to respectfully disagree because it's not.
Ma'am, my suggestion, if you could submit your request in writing to the superintendent, it may be possible that they can have you sign a waiver document where you would ask that he be picked up and dropped off. You consent to that, specifically requested, and hold harmless the district from any liability resulted therein. The district should be able to accommodate.
Okay, so would you like me to submit another document? Because I did back in December.
Well, if
You want to
wanna
put
send me
something else in writing?
Send me a copy in writing. I'll give you my card, or Ben will give you our card, and then you can, we'll prepare a waiver. I have an email address. We'll send that to you. You can drop that off to the superintendent's office, copy it us if you wish, and we'll see if that can be, an accommodation can be made for that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor.
You're welcome. Who do I get the card from?
Next, we have Amira Ross.
Hello, I come to you guys because I'm not sure if you're aware that you guys have the elementary class here at the high school, and It's come to my knowledge that you guys are doing budget cuts, as you always do, but I wanted to make sure that I'm writing you guys a letter as well towards the end of the year. But I know you're going up for this state to make sure that this program is collected and stays at this program. I want to let you know that this program has been amazing. The kids have done very, very well, and it's in the support of the two teachers, Ms. Cardona and Ms. Dunn. They have been absolutely amazing teachers. We started off with them last year, and we followed them this year. And then in the beginning, it was very scary to bring our little ones, 3- and 4-year-olds, over to the high school. But it has been such an amazing program. And I don't think it has done as well if we didn't have Ms. Dunn and Ms. Cardona. We have a bilingual teacher in the class, which half the class is bilingual and half the class is not. And my son is not bilingual. And it has been such a positive resource just to have a bilingual teacher in the classroom with him that I don't think we would have made it through the year with some of the issues. It has been like no issues at all besides the security thing. It has been such a smooth transition, and they have taken such well care of our babies. Like, I will write a letter if you guys need anything for the state to make sure this program stays with you. I know friends who teach in the Lane City school districts and all over the area, and this program here needs to stay. And these two teachers are one of the best teachers that I've ever had any type of corresponding with or dealing with at all. So these two teachers are definitely should be on the top of your list to keep, to be a part of any programs that you guys are looking to involve them in, because they have made the transition for these little ones one of the best practices ever. And I just hope you guys take that into consideration, because you don't come across teachers who care very often. And I could say if it's 11 o'clock at night, my son had his tonsils removed, they both were texting and calling to make sure that he was okay from the hospital. And you don't find that very often where you actually see a teacher that cares. I come from an area that everybody knew each other, parents knew teachers and knew things, so it was different. In this generation, you just don't find that. And with these two teachers, they definitely deserve whatever. If I could write a letter to the state, the board, or anything you guys need to make sure that they're recognized for that, please let me know. And I'll make sure you guys have my information to do so, because they definitely need the recognition, because it was a hard transition to come here from being with the other elementary schools to come to a high school and to make sure they're safe. And Mr. Bonnick has been hands-on. Anytime I had to call out to see, you know, what bus transportation or anything, they made sure they were on top of everything to make sure the kids were taken care of. So once again, Ms. Cardona and Ms. Dunn have been amazing teachers for your district. And if you have more teachers like this, our students are going to go very far, which is the most important thing, because they're the future. So I just want to thank you guys for choosing them. From, you know, I'm sure you get alternate teachers all throughout the year. These are two amazing teachers that you want to keep on your register. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ross. Next, we have Ms. Hovey.
Good evening, Board. Jean Hovey from the Pleasantville Education Association. I have a couple of issues. One is the transfers that you made at the last board meeting of our two maintenance gentlemen to custodians. They recently got letters of non-renewal, and the reasons were budgetary rifts. If you're going that route, then neither one can go, because they're number 1 and number 6 on the seniority list. So we have to relook at that. The other one is a security guard suspended with pay. You are doing an investigation, and you gave him a rice letter for this meeting. As of this time, the union has not been made apprised of any of the investigation that has been done, so I don't understand how you should be talking about it if we don't even know what is the outcome of these investigations. Another one is a custodian, just got an increment withholding letter today. It was dated last Friday, it didn't go out until Monday. He got it today when he arrived back at home from the hospital, from an appendicitis that he's recovering from. We don't know the reasons of the increment withholding, as do we know the reasons for the other 2 people on the agenda tonight for increment withholding. It's like you're putting the horse before the cart. So we really need you to get the house in order before we start discussing all of these things. And I'm confused. On page 13, number 9, it's got a whereas about the custodial maintenance grounds management, and then it's got a therefore. Is that because you are removing it? I'm not sure. It was page 13, number 9.
Ms. Hovey, that's not being removed.
So you're going to send out for custodial maintenance grounds and management services?
No, the wording is incorrect. We're not going out for custodial maintenance and grounds. We had agreed upon that in the settlement.
That's why I was asking.
Correct. So there is no outsourcing of those areas.
So this would be strictly putting people into management from within, or are we getting rid of the 2 people that are there?
I can't speak on that issue. One, to speak on that issue would require them to be rised. I can't speak on that issue. And I'm not, Ms. Hovey, you have to understand, I'm not going to.
The members of my unit are not affected by this.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Evans. Next, we have Ms. Rice Biven. Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. I'm sorry.
For the record, just say what it is.
You say, they want to hear it from you now.
Okay.
It says it.
Then fine.
It says it.
Oh, it does say it. Yeah, we're canceling that. We're pulling it off the agenda.
I'm sorry, we have Ms. Noel.
Good evening, board. Good evening, everyone. I am trying to find out the position of the board on nepotism within the district. Can someone clarify that for me?
There is a policy. There's both state policy and Abbott districts have special policies. You can make a request to the board office and get a copy of that policy.
Also, is it standard practice to try to avoid a supervisor being a direct familial relation to their subordinate within the same school? Can a supervisor, a vice principal, or a principal be at the same school and be related to their subordinate?
I think the question is first whether or not they can be hired, and then whether or not they can be supervised.
Not about hiring, about being at the same school, working.
You'd have to refer to the policy.
I'm sorry?
You'd have to refer to the policy.
You have to refer to the policy?
Right.
So if there is a parent who has an inquiry about a teacher and that supervisor is their sister or brother, how does that dynamic help the school? To have a, objective resolution.
And all I can say is that the policies are available on the website. They're also available from the district office.
I have knowledge that a supervisor was involved.
Yeah, we have to be careful now because we can't comment on any specific individual.
I did not specify, sir. I did not specify, I did not name names, I did not even say a school. But it's in this district.
You're getting very specific.
It's in this district. There is a supervisor and their relative, direct relative, works under them. There was an inquiry about that teacher, and that related individual oversaw that inquiry. And it was never disclosed that they were related so that they could recuse themselves.
If you have, again, if you want a copy of the policy, it's available through the board offices or on the website. If you have a complaint as an ethics issue, you can file a complaint. The state commissioner's office does have an ethics division. And if you have a complaint as to a potential ethics conflict, you can file it with the state.
So there's no viewpoint that the board frowns upon any type of discrepancies that can compromise objectivity?
It wouldn't be fair for the board to comment on such an issue without specific facts.
Okay.
And even then, this would not be the forum. This is public comment, and it's not an appropriate forum to review specific issues regarding.
I didn't specify, I'm just kind of generalizing.
Right.
But if you want specifics, we can
If you
have
specifics, you
a
can-
meeting.
You can contact the state if you
Oh,
wish.
so you don't want to deal with it in the district?
You can do whatever you want.
So there's no in-district resolution, I'll have to go to the state, is what you're telling me?
I mean, you can certainly refer it to the superintendent's office.
Okay.
Have you brought it to the superintendent's office?
This is my first inquiry, just to see the position of the board on those type of issues, being as though parents need to be aware so that they do not come to a brother or sister of an individual who's supposed to be supervising that, because you know if you talk to your family member, you're going to have some bias, and then you should not be involved in any circumstance where your relative is involved.
You've been here before. Okay, this
Oh.
is public comment. It's not public interrogation. It's not proper to ask the board for their opinion.
I wouldn't know what's proper or not. I'm a
hypothetical
concerned
issue.
parent, and
You
I
have-
just was making inquiry.
And I appreciate that, and you have a right to do so, but this is not the place to do it. You should refer it to the superintendent's office, as you did with the policy with regard to the computers and other items. The correct place to bring those concerns is in writing to the superintendent's office.
Okay, I have yet to get an appointment. I called your office, Mr. Tompkins, in reference to the technology.
Mr. When did you call my office?
I believe it was May 12th or somewhere around there. It was in May. And the secretary answered the phone, and she said that she would call back and look into your calendar. And so I'm directly talking to you to see when that open door policy to review the technology.
Mr. Oil, I do have an open door policy. You're welcome to
So
come
I
and
don't have
visit
to
me
make an
any-
appointment?
Ms. Oil, are you available tomorrow?
Yeah,
Then you can come and see me tomorrow.
okay.
Thank you, Ms. Noel. Next, we have Ms. Rice Vivian.
Good evening, Board. I'm actually inquiring about the same thing that Ms. Hovey, number 9, so it was resent, the RFP was rescinded for number 9?
There is no outsourcing of custodial maintenance.
There will be none?
There is none.
Okay. Well, I would like to commend them on the decision of making that, because it does have a lot of local people that were born and raised here in Pleasantville that do work in that department, so I would like to commend you on that decision. Was there a salary guide used for number 7, the first one for human resources? The 7-1, new hires.
Okay, I can see it here.
It's number 7.1.
What was the question? There's no response to that? You have another question?
There's no response to if there was a salary guide used for hiring a brand-new person into the district? A district that just sent out RIF letters to some staff, so it's okay to bring somebody in for $125,000 into a position. So there's no, okay. The other question I actually have is actually for the monitor. Are there reports for the progress or suggestions that are made for the school board? And if they are, where would the public be able to review them?
Reports are issued to the Board of Education, and they would be available through Oprah.
Through Oprah? Okay, thank you so much. And Decatur Avenue, is there any plans to do anything with the school?
We are discussing several different options. We are even having conversations with county office and the Atlantic County Superintendent. We have a meeting actually on the end of this month with a team of them who will come and look at the building with us and review some other plans that we have and to see if the plans are viable. Okay, so it's right now it is in discussion.
So there's currently no employees in the building or in the back building either?
That wasn't the question you asked.
No, I'm asking, are there employees? Because if there's no staff, there's no students, there shouldn't really be any employees working in the building.
Okay, so you're making a statement or you're asking a question?
Are there any employees working in the building that doesn't house staff, students?
Which building?
Decatur Avenue, the same building you just asked questions?
Okay, but there are actually three buildings or two buildings over there.
Either building.
There are staff there in the trailer.
There are staff in the trailer. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Is it Sharla? Shayla?
Hi.
Hello, how are you?
I'm speaking for behalf of Miss Cardona. My family calls her Miss Raquel. And she called my mom in to tell me to come and help her because she was fired. And coming from her wonderful speech about those two teachers, Miss Raquel has helped us a lot. My parents both speak Spanish, and I've been told, I don't remember since I was a kid, that I didn't speak any English at all. And she was the only teacher in my class who helped me. I can remember her. I have this little picture in my bedroom door, or my bedroom room, and I see she's hugging me along with two other friends that I used to have. And I only have this one other friend in my class that we don't talk anymore, but Miss Raquel was there, and she's been a great teacher, and she's just, thank you. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you, Shayla. Next we have Shelby.
Hello, I'm Shelby and I'm her sister. We have the same parents. And as she told you before, our parents and us, we didn't speak English before. So Miss Raquel helped us, and as much as she helped us, she also helped our parents. She helped our parents to translate us and helping our parents find better homes. And now we live in Galloway because I'm sure of Miss Raquel helping them speak English and helping them know better of the language. And I'd really appreciate her and Miss Raquel to keep on teaching to help other parents with that same problem. And if she kept on teaching, I'm sure Ms. Raquel will keep on doing her best and keep on helping students who don't know English as well. Thank you.
Thank you. That's it for public portion. Next, we're going to go into the superintendent's report.
Good evening, board. Good evening, everyone. I want to first thank North Main and Ms. McGinney and her team for their presentation tonight. And I want to begin by offering some other recognition I think is well deserved. We have Sergeant Timothy Mack. Is it Sergeant Mack? Sergeant Mack, he also has a couple of his cadets. And the reason I invited Sergeant Mack to come tonight because we have found out that Sergeant Mack's JROTC, they have earned the highest award an Army JROTC can receive. Out of 1,700 groups over the country, the Pleasantville team is one of an elite group to receive this honor, and we want to recognize Sergeant Mack and his team. Sergeant Mack, if you, with the board's indulgence, if you wanted to introduce at least your cadets or say anything.
I think everybody can hear me. This is my class sergeant major, Jennifer Lario. She's a junior. And this is our battalion executive officer, Ed Major, David Orion Dawson. That I don't do a lot. Okay? This is a student-driven program, and these guys work. They work. Taking honors classes, and they still spend lots of time on Saturdays going doing stuff in the community, drill competitions. We go to mentorship forums. We're doing grading Wildwood Saturdays, as a matter of fact. So they do a lot of the planning. They collect commission slips, and when they can tell one of their peers or question, why don't you have a third teacher sign your commission slip? And when they start questioning and asking, and they give it back and say, you need to have the teacher sign it. That's them doing my job. And when you're surrounded with kids like this, it makes life a lot easier. So they do a great job, not just these two, but there's a whole group of JROTC cadets that the leaders step up with the challenge every day.
And we certainly thank you for your leadership. And I know that you've already, I guess, received a copy or this certificate, but if you don't mind, I'll just read what this one says. And it says, U.S. Cadet Command, 2nd Brigade, the United States Army Reserve Officers Training Corps, Honor Unit with Distinction, awarded to Pleasantville High School for the school years 2017-18 in recognition of exceptional performance in all areas of the junior ROTC program. Thank you very much, sir. Yes. And as we move on, I wanted to recognize a couple of other students and staff. At the middle school, they had this year a middle school chess tournament. Chess is a very challenging game for those of you who play it or who've attempted to play it. And I wanted to recognize or at least mention the first place winner of that chess tournament and undefeated in record time checkmate was a young lady by the name of Sherry Chance. And second place was Alexis Lopez. And third place was Joshua Cortez. So it shows that not only do we have the talented musical components, but the students are thinking. They're this is high level skills that it takes to think and to plan and strategize. As you see already, North Main did their band or musical presentation, but also they did mention that they were host to 2 professional LPG golf persons a couple of weeks ago, and we wanted to commend them on that. And our congratulations too to the boys track and field team who won the New Jersey Group 2 state championships. That's another great accomplishment. You're not going to applaud for them? Yeah, and I guess you've gotten used to it because I understand this is the third time that Pleasantville has won that honor, so congratulations to them. And now I want to also recognize, I think he's gone, but we have teachers of each school selects a teacher or staff member to be recognized as Teacher of the Year or Staff Member of the Year. However, there's one teacher that has been identified for Teacher of the Year for the district, and that is Mr. Michael Latour, and we want to congratulate him. And in recognition of some other teachers, Stockton University invited Pleasantville to participate in a new program they have. I guess it's a sabbatical type program where they wanted a teacher from our school district to come to work with them for 1 full year as a teacher to work, and they call it pedagogy, teaching other younger teachers or aspiring teachers on how to be more effective, particularly with children or students in urban districts. And so we had some teachers who submitted their application, their interest. And what Stockton will do is pay the salary to the school district along with any other expenses for that year. And we had five finalists. We only identified the teachers who were interested. They submitted their names, and then Stockton's team then took over from there. And they interviewed the teachers, and then they also came out and visited. So the 5 finalists were Michelle Everett from the high school, Regina Trudeau, I think that's correct, from the middle school. There's Darshell Scott from South Main Street School. There's Kimberly Sparks from South Main Street School. And there was Claudia Velasquez from Washington Avenue School. Okay, these are, and so we understand, I don't know if you found out, and I just recently did, who they have selected, and I'm not going to make that announcement now. I'll let the principal at least talk to them. But all of these, what's really, really, I think, important is that they have identified that there's a tremendous need for teachers to learn how to be effective with many of our students. It can be challenging in many of these urban climates. But these teachers have demonstrated that they have the skills, and they want to make sure that other up-and-coming teachers are able to acquire those skills, not just content, but the how to be effective with these children. So I want to commend them. Finally, board, I just want to mention we do have some summer programs that we are expecting to take place. One main thing that's different this year is we have kind of voted to allow the Chromebooks to go home with students during the summer with some special programs that they'll be using. There was a lot of debate about this. Many people had different views. Some said no, some said yes. And the consensus was we ought to give them a chance because there are some things that they can do during the summer. We've invested a lot of money in that particular technology, and now to give them a chance to not only use it during school, but to let the year extend into the summer. So we are looking forward to seeing how that works. Okay, well, that's all that I have right now.
Thank you, Dr. Austin. All right, Mr. Tompkins.
Madam President, first I'd like to approve the board minutes from May 8th, 2018. I need a motion.
Can I get a motion, please? Can I get a second? Any questions? Roll call, Mr. Tompkins.
Mr. Barkley? Yes. Ms. Couch? Yes. Mr. Buford, you can't, you have to abstain. Ms. Mello? Yes. Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
The motion carries. Madam President, we need to have a separate resolution for this. Though we approved the original loan application for $3.5 million, the loan the actual loan approved by the bank is $3,456,275, and this is due to June, which they do every year. The state withholds $7 million from us in the month of June, not just the Pleasantville School District, but throughout the state, anyone that has state aid. So it has been revised to $3,456,275, and I need a motion.
Can I get a motion? Can I get a second? Second. Any questions? Roll call, Mr. Tompkins.
Mr. Barkley? Ms. Couch?
Yes.
Mr. Buford? Yes. Ms. Mello?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Motion carries. Madam President, rather than doing consent agenda for this board meeting, I needed to break everything out. So I need a motion to approve finance from 3.1 to 5.3. Now, there was a question before we go into that regarding the engineering. Am I correct?
Regarding what?
The engineers?
Yes. It was just one company, right? Or, wait a minute.
We put two companies on. One company does not have an LSRP for methane remediation. And for the record, we've been monitoring this as required by the DEP for several years, and there's been zero methane detected. However, there's a process that has to go through the DEP for approval, and it's taken several years. So rather than putting one engineer on, we put on two, but it is the pleasure of the board.
For, to the board, we're talking about section 4, number 8. I'm sorry, 7. But Mr. Tompkins, you did answer my question, so, I mean, I'm fine with that.
Then, Madam President, I need the approval of the finance.
I'm sorry, I have one more question. Number 8. So there was only one RFP that came in for the architect?
Yes, we advertised it, and there was only one submission for architects. If you recall, in the past, we had an architect from Camden. He no longer has submitted proposals. We put it out throughout the state, and we got one.
Okay.
Board members, if there are no other questions, Madam President, can I?
What is the normal procedure if you just receive an RFP?
The process is.
I think he needs a mic, right?
I'm sorry.
Thank you. My question is that what is the normal procedure if you receive one RFP?
An RFP is a request for a proposal. We advertise it, we send it out, and in some cases, that's all we get. You cannot reject an RFP if you get one, unless the cost is beyond the scope of the budget. Right now, it isn't. That's one. And two, the architect really doesn't come into play unless there are projects out there that require an architect. So my opinion, as your school business administrator, you need an architect. We still need to do a cohort survival study, and that normally comes through the architect. Right now, only one bidder. Actually, I don't want to use the term bid, only one RFP was returned, and we still need to do studies on the population shifts and so forth, and the architect normally does that. So my recommendation is that you approve the architect.
Mr. Tompkins, I see on number 8 for the architect, there's not a figure there, amount not to exceed.
There is no figure because right now we haven't requested any projects.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, roll call. I mean, can I get a motion? I'm sorry. Second by Ms. Couch. Roll call, Mr. Tompkins.
Mr. Barkley? Yes. Ms. Couch? Yes. Ms. Mello?
Yes.
Mr. Buford?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
I just want to abstain from number 1 and yes to everything else.
Ms. Thomas, I need the approval of facilities, item 6.1.
What was that?
Facilities, 6.1.
Can I get a motion, please, for facilities? Can I get a second? Second.
Board, we need a second.
Second by Ms. Mello. Any questions? Roll call, Mr. Tompkins.
Mr. Barkley? Ms. Couch?
Yes.
Ms. Mello?
Yes.
Mr. Buford?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Madam President, I have the HR agenda, 7.1 through 7.17. Are there?
Can I get a motion, please? For HR agenda? Can I get a second? Motion by Ms. Couch, second by Ms. Miller. Any questions? Roll call, Mr. Tompkins.
Mr. Barkley? Ms. Couch?
Yes.
Ms. Mello?
Yes.
Mr. Buford?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
HR carries. On the agenda, we have broken it down into pupil matters. The head.
Okay, I apologize, Board. I could have included this in my superintendent's report. However, on the HIB, we have quite a few for this particular month. Actually, from almost all of our schools, we had about 50 reports of harassment, intimidation, bullying, which is not, the increase is not unusual this time of year. many times even our reporting is more sensitive than it is during the rest of the year because we try really hard to keep things under control. But the number is high, and we need to, of course, adjust that. But there are 51 total.
Madam President, can I get a motion to approve the pupil matters?
Can I get a motion, please?
There was a motion from Ms. Mellon.
Right. Yeah.
We need another mic.
Can I get a second, please? The mic. The
Mr.
mic.
Barkley, second.
The microphone. Second by Mr. Barkley.
Second by Mr. Barkley.
Any questions? Roll call, Mr. Tompkins.
Mr. Barkley? Yes. Ms. Couch?
Yes.
Ms. Mello?
Yes.
Mr. Buford?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Motion carries. Madam President, we need a motion to approve policy 8.1.
Can I get a motion to approve policy 8.1?
That's a motion.
Can I get a second? Second by Ms. Couch. Any questions? Roll call, Mr. Tompkins.
Mr. Barkley?
Yes.
Ms. Couch?
Yes.
Ms. Mello?
Yes.
Mr. Buford?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Motion carries. Madam President, I bring forth the curriculum instruction agenda. I need a motion to approve 9.1 through 9.5.
Can I get a motion, please?
That's a motion.
Second by Ms. Couch. Any questions on 9.1 for C&I?
9.1 through 9.5.
Of 9.1 through 9.5? No questions? Roll call, Mr. Tompkins.
Mr. Barkley?
Yes.
Ms. Couch?
Yes.
Ms. Mello?
Yes.
Mr. Buford?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
There is a question regarding Madam President, I need a motion to go into executive session.
Can I get a motion to go into executive session? Who's that?
Ms. Mello.
Ms. Mello, second by Ms. Couch. Roll call, Mr. Tompkins.
Mr. Barkley?
Yes.
Ms. Couch?
Yes.
Ms. Mello?
Yes.
Mr. Buford?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
The time is 7:25.
It is hereby resolved that the Pleasantville Board of Education may go into closed or private session from which the public shall be excluded in accordance with the provisions as set forth in NJSA 10:4-12 and 10:4-13. The following subjects shall be discussed on this date in the session of the board closed to the public: personnel, pupil matters, pending and anticipated litigation. Be it further resolved that the discussion in the closed session will be disclosed to the public at this time or a future meeting of the board when it is no longer necessary to maintain the confidential nature of the items discussed.
For the record, we'll be discussing tenure charges with regard to Karpinski and Verteberg. Danny, will there be an update on the other litigation as well? Okay, and also an update on the pending matter. Okay, with regard to the district's litigation involving the monitor, and then there's two matters which will be discussed. Okay, Ms. Maribel, Irvin Maribel, and William Bartell. Anything else, Ben?
Can I get a motion to come out of executive session?
Is there a motion?
Second. Roll call, Mr. Tompkins.
Mr. Barkley?
Yes.
Ms. Couch?
Yes.
Ms. Mello?
Yes.
Mr. Buford?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
The time is 7:21. I'm sorry, 8:21. Wow, later than I thought.
Okay, there are several matters presented during closed session. The first matter involved the status of litigation involving the district, involving the monitor. Then there was discussion as to two tenure charges, which I'm going to present resolutions on in a moment. And then Mr. Irvin Maribel made a presentation concerning facility usage. And then Mr. Bartell made a presentation with regard to reimbursement for certain expenses. At this time, we will need resolutions with regard to the tenure charges. The first tenure charge would involve Dawn Karpinski, I'm sorry. And we would need a motion to present, to have tenure charges filed. The board has determined there is probable cause to credit the evidence in support of the charges that she failed to perform her duties competently, neglected her duties as a PBOE employee, engaged in conduct on becoming of an employee, and charges and evidence in support thereof are sufficient, if credited, to warrant dismissal. And the board will consider at this time a motion to have those charges formally filed.
Can I get a motion?
Is there a motion?
Second by Ms. Couch. Any questions? Roll call, Mr. Tompkins.
Mr. Barkley?
Yes.
Ms. Couch?
Yes.
Ms. Mello?
Yes.
Mr. Buford?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
The second matter are tenure charges against Cynthia Verteberg. The board determined there's probable cause to credit the evidence in support of charges against Ms. Verteberg. Failed to perform her job duties competently and neglected her duties as a Pleasantville Board of Education employee, engaged in conduct on becoming an employee. Excessive absenteeism, charges and evidence in support thereof are sufficient if credited to warrant dismissal. We did note that we believe this matter will be resolved. Unfortunately, Ms. Verteberg did not sign the resolution today. Hopefully she'll do so shortly, which might obviate the need for these charges. But since it has not been resolved as of this time, and this is the only meeting we have this month, we need to put these charges forward. So I would ask the board to consider a resolution to file tenure charges against Ms. Verteberg.
Can I get a motion? Second by Ms. Couch. Any questions? Roll call, Mr. Tompkins.
Mr. Barkley?
Yes.
Ms. Couch? Yes. Ms. Mello?
Yes.
Mr. Buford? Yes. Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
With regard to the Maribel and Bartel matters, there is some information that the board will be reviewing. Specifically with regard to Mr. Bartel, there was a prior resolution that did approve his attendance and did approve the reimbursement for the expenses associated with registration, but it did not include compensation to him. So that will be reviewed. If a determination is made that the board wishes to reimburse him, we'll notify the union. But it does not appear at this point that reimbursement is warranted. And then with regard to Mr. Maribel, the board is not taking action at this time, it's my understanding. I guess he could resubmit any information he has. There were some questions that the board had, specifically as to the participation level of students of Pleasantville. There have been issues in the past where there have been programs, and there have been little, if any, involvement from Pleasantville students. So I would suggest that maybe if he has more information as to the number of participants and how many are from Pleasantville, that might be a matter that the board would then readdress at that time.
All right.
Thank you, Madam President. Just as we close out the evening, I wanted to advise, as this fiscal year closes, I will be preparing a comprehensive year-end report, which will also embrace the quarterly. But there is an emergent fiscal issue that I wanted to just take a moment and amplify because it's somewhat recent in terms of its evolution. In April, the end of the month on the 27th, I had issued a letter wherein I had sought to understand how the board intends to cover the expenses that are incurred through the recent collective bargaining agreement that's been ratified. The retroactive and future fiscal commitments that are made therein are significant, and there are specific areas that require fiscal analysis and documentation. Recalling that a fiscal deficit is among the reasons a state monitor is assigned to Pleasantville and appreciating fully that the board seeks to eliminate the need for a monitor, it's important to evaluate and understand how the fiscal obligations shall be met without incurring additional fiscal deficit. It's in the public interest to understand the fiscal impacts of the agreement. I look forward to receiving the information requested last month so that I can understand how the fiscal implications stipulated in the CBA, or the collective bargaining agreement, will be met and begin to ascertain how the existing fiscal deficit may be impacted. Further, the district awaits determinations that may emanate from the state budget process. The board will recall that on July 8, 2017, the district presented its plan to address the $832,205 reduction in state aid. That was just last summer. It's important to bear in mind that a state aid adjustment additionally could impact upon the upcoming budget. In light of these matters, the fiscal analysis of the agreement, including how the contractual obligations impact upon the current budget and the remaining 3 years for which the contract is in place, is of paramount importance. These issues noted, I also know that the business office staff is in the process of evaluating the agreement and is working diligently to study the fiscal implications. And I am grateful for those efforts. They're undertaking difficult work, and I do look forward to receiving the analysis that was requested through the April 27th correspondence. Thank you, Ms. Thomas.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Bowen.
Can I respond? Thank you, Dr. Byron. As you're aware, you and I meet frequently. You see what we're working on. Each day, I prepare an analysis for a review of the CBA agreement and how it impacts our budget. We built a budget on April 2017. The state came in July after the budget was completed and reduced our budget $832,205. This year, the board agreed to a contract settlement, and we've been working on this every day since the settlement. I believe that by this Friday, the analysis will be complete. I'm pretty close to it now. How it impacts our budget? You build a budget that's sound, and again, as I stated, the state came in and took money from us. I can't predict the future, but I'm assuming that the state could potentially come in and do that again. But we're working diligently. I informed the superintendent where we are, and I continue to inform the superintendent where we are. So we're still working on that, and we will have everything completed. Today, for example, I had a spreadsheet doing a line-by-line analysis of our entire budget, and our budget consists of 15 by school, and 20, 30, and 40. We have, Abbott districts have the largest financial statements out of any school district, and I go through it line by line, and I will continue to do that until we're comfortable.
One final matter, I understand that we have an applicant for the vacant board seat who had applied previously, was asked to attend tonight, Hannah Erickson. Ms. Erickson, would you just stand up and identify yourself? Just a moment. You can use that mic. Yep. If any of the board members have any questions.
Hi, I'm Hannah.
Good evening.
Huh? Any questions?
You have a resume?
No, there's no resume. But she can present it now.
I think the board just wants to know why you want to serve on the board.
Oh, well, I moved to Pleasantville about a year ago, and I'm getting ready to start my family, and I just wanted to experience it and see how it works.
Oh, okay. Anyone have any questions? What was your first name again?
Hannah.
Hannah. Any questions for Hannah? No. No, I don't
No.
have any questions. You? No. Huh? No. Well, seeing that no one has any questions, we just want to thank you for your interest in, wanting to be on the school board here. And is there someone else, or?
There's another candidate that's not present currently that applied for the board.
Okay, so, Ms. Hannah, you can have a seat.
Okay,
Thank you.
It's up to you. We're good.
No?
We're good.
Okay. We're going to vote on the applicant, right? Can I get a motion?
Hold on a second. Hannah, what is your last name? Harrison?
I guess afterwards we can, or like off the record. Can I get a motion? Ms. Mello, can I get a second? Second by Ms. Couch. Any questions? Roll call, Mr. Tompkins.
Mr. Barkley?
Yes.
Ms. Couch? Ms. Mello?
Yes.
Mr. Buford? Yes. Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Erickson, you'll have to have your fingerprints taken. There's also an ethics class that you will have to complete. And then assuming that your fingerprints come back clear, you will then be sworn into the board at that point.
Thank you. Thanks for coming out.
Okay, Ms. Harrison, it would be prudent to come to the board so we can give you the documentation for fingerprints.
When, tomorrow or?
Any day. I won't be there Thursday, but if you come tomorrow, I'll make sure that you have a fingerprint package.
If you could do it as soon as possible, please, Ms. Hannah. All right, thank you. Anything else? Mr. Tompkins? anything else?
And no, Madam President, this concludes our agenda.
Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Second.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Any?
The time is 8:35.